resolve the problem of the two holdouts at Manhattanville?
The state has passed its general project plan, which leads to eminent domain. They are contesting that in court. We'll wait for the litigation between those two commercial property owners and the state to resolve itself. I should underscore Columbia very early on said under no conditions would it seek eminent domain with respect to any residential properties. So we're really talking about two commercial property owners. And we'll wait and see how the... Still pending.
Robert, maybe the one thing we should underscore there, though, is when we look at this development area, which is 17 acres, it has been one of the single largest assemblages of property in New York City. And what I mean by that specifically is every parcel, essentially every parcel, was owned by a different property owner. And one at a time from 2002, minus the two properties that we haven't, actually it's 6 properties, 2 owners that we haven't acquired yet, under Robert's leadership and through a guy named Phil Silverman, who is our Vice President for Real Estate, we've been able to acquire every property, and at the end of that acquisition, be in a place with the owner of that property where they're actually feeling very, very good about their future as a business if they wanted to stay in business. We've relocated several businesses and really created the opportunity for other folks to get out of a business, quite frankly, that they had been trying to get out of and didn't have a way to do that. So I think we've delivered a very, very positive result at the end of the day. And as Robert said, we'll continue to work through the process on the 2 remaining, but not to lose sight of what really has already taken place.
It was actually very interesting because, after all, this is New York City. And there were, over the last number of years, some tough moments. But our experience on the inside with the community is at great variance with what the press reported. So that I remember my mother-in-law sending me an article describing a meeting we had attended in West Harlem. And it was in one of the London newspapers, actually. And it was accompanied by an email note about how sorry they were feeling for me and how terrible things were. And I was like, it didn't happen. I mean, it just, so that Joe and I were actually chatting before the meeting started. Columbia University not only is a university where people work in this community, but 1 out of every 3 staff people live in this community. And when I say this community, I don't mean Manhattan. I mean Community Board 9, 110th Street to 155th Street. And as a result, the way in which we behave has to be consistent with the highest standards. We're staying here. We're not like private developers, those private developers who can build a building and then move on to another part of the city or another part of the country. We're going to live with the people we're affecting. And when Joe talks about making people happy, it's not simply because we overpaid. I don't think money is really what it's about. We have worked. Sometimes it's been harder than other times. I'm sure we've made mistakes, but we've worked so that when we're done, the community feels that having Columbia here is to everyone's advantage. And it's really, it allows us to come to work and feel good about it. Please.